and welcome to WION World is One. This hour we are broadcasting live from the British capital. You're with me, Katie Pilbeam, and let's get to the headlines. For the first time since the 1980s, a US nuclear-armed ballistic missile submarine is in South Korea as the Allies launch talks to coordinate responses in the event of a nuclear war with North Korea. Russia says it has opened road traffic on one lane of the Crimea bridge after it was hit by two explosions. The bridge is important as it connects Crimea to mainland Russia. The UK government's controversial plans to stop thousands of migrants arriving on British shores in small boats clears last parliamentary hurdle. Israelis march on highways and block army headquarters in Tel Aviv in the run-up to a parliament vote on the government's judicial reform agenda. Protesters say, dismantle democracy. Show of strength by India's ruling party, the BJP, today, as close to 38 parties gather as part of the National Democratic Alliance in the national capital. 26 opposition parties to announce their 2024 joint agenda. Defending champion Cameron Smith gets emotional while returning the claret jug ahead of the Open. The Australian says he's even more determined to win his most prized possession back at Royal Liverpool this week. We begin with the Black Sea grain deal that collapsed on Monday after Russia refused an extension. Well, let's look at some of the reactions coming in from around the world, with several leaders condemning Moscow's decision. Well, the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says that millions facing hunger will pay the price of Russia's decision. He further added that a related pact between the UN and Moscow to help facilitate Russia's grain and fertilizer exports was also terminated.
With the decision to terminate the Black Sea Initiative, the Russian Federation also terminated its commitment to, and I quote, facilitate the unimpeded export of food, sunflower oil and fertilizers from Ukrainian-controlled Black Sea ports, end of quote, as expressed in paragraph 1 of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Russian Federation and the United Nations.
Well, UN Security Council members on Monday also condemned Russia's decision and expressed concerns that price rises will put food out of reach, particularly in poorer nations. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba said that the halt puts many in Africa and Asia at risk of facing hunger.
Put mostly nations in Asia and Africa at risk of facing increasing food prices and hunger. This must stop. And now, you know, we all have a headache. We have to solve yet another problem created by Russia. And I emphasized to the Secretary General, and I'm also making this emphasis in all other conversations, that if we have the political will, we will find the way out.
While Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine is prepared to continue grain exports even after Russia's exit from the deal.
I have sent official letters to President Erdogan and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres with a proposal to extend the work of the Black Sea Grain Initiative or its equivalent in a trilateral format, as it is the most reliable. Ukraine, the UN and Turkey together can ensure the operation of a food corridor and vessel inspections.
Well, the EU chief, Ursula von der Leyen, branded the move as cynical. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that Russia is weaponizing food with grain deal exit. White House said it will continue to work with other countries to enable both Russian and Ukrainian grain to reach the rest of the world.
Indeed, we are already seeing a spike in global wheat, corn, and soybean prices just today as a result of Russia's suspension. We urge the government of Russia to immediately reverse its decision. Meanwhile, the United States has and we will continue to work with other countries to enable both Russian and Ukrainian grain to reach the rest of the world.
Well, the Black Sea deal was brokered by UN and Turkey last year and allowed Ukrainian grain to be safely exported through the Black Sea. The deal had been extended several times, but this time Russia decided to halt it. Now, Moscow's decision came after a deadly blast on Crimea Bridge. The Kremlin has blamed Kyiv for the drone attacks that killed 2 people, also shutting down Russia's key artery for military and civilian access to the peninsula. Although Moscow says the 2 events are not related and that it exited the deal as conditions for extension had not been fulfilled.
Поэтому ее действие прекращается. Как только российская часть договоренности будет выполнена, российская сторона вернется к реализации этой сделки.
Well, for military and civilian access to the peninsula. Now, the suspension of the deal, it heightens uncertainty over global food supplies by closing a crucial export route for Ukraine, one of the world's top suppliers of wheat and vegetable oils. The UK is all set to announce plans to improve the combat readiness of its military, while the European nation intends to spend $3.3 billion on replenishing munitions and stockpiles that have been depleted by the war in Ukraine. Well, the war has exposed weaknesses in British military, including dwindling reserves of munitions and a lack of industrial capacity needed to ramp up production quickly. Well, the Defence Command paper would set out a strategy to reshape forces to counter the more immediate threat posed by Russia and the long-term challenge from China. The new strategy would include plans for a new global response force and an improved surge capacity force made up of former soldiers. As part of the new defence strategy, the government said it would prioritise investment in science and technology, including the use of robotics and laser weapons. The UK Defence Minister Ben Wallace said the strategy would ensure Britain remains at the forefront of military capability and a leading power in NATO.
Ukraine, tragically, and it is a tragedy that this has had to be the case, has become a battle lab for all those people offering things, and the Ukrainians take them and embrace them, and we gift them, and Ukraine tells us whether they work or not, or we see how they're used. And those sort of things mean that we would be foolish to ignore those lessons and not import them into our own armed forces to make sure that we can be match fit for any future conflict.
Well, earlier the UK announced it would spend more on defence to take it to about 2.25% of GDP this year and next from about 2% previously. Now, Ben Wallace has said he would be prepared to speak out from the backbenches if Rishi Sunak does not stick to his promise to increase military spending. Wallace will not stand as a Member of Parliament in the next UK national election and will leave government when Rishi Sunak carries out his next cabinet reshuffle. Well, after the United States, UK has been the second largest supplier of military aid to Ukraine. UK has in the past been the first country to supply more sophisticated weapons to the country. It sent the first shoulder-launched anti-air and anti-tank weapons to Ukraine in the run-up to the invasion. In February, the UK announced it would be the first country to begin training Ukrainian pilots on NATO fighter jets. The UK's controversial illegal migration bill is set to become law. This is after the Tory party-led government won a final series of votes in the House of Lords. Well, the bill, it went through a late-night debate in the House of Lords. Several amendments by peers were defeated by MPs, including the key amendments of time limits on child detention and modern slavery protections. Well, the past few weeks, the MPs were engaged in a kind of ping-pong battle with the Lords over the final form of the bill. However, the last of the proposed changes was voted down, and now the bill can go for a royal assent, where the King will formally agree to make the bill an act. Now, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, also dropped his demand for a 10-year strategy for collaborating internationally on refugees and human trafficking to the UK after his demands were again rejected by MPs. Well, the illegal migration bill is one of the 5 pledges of UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. He has vowed to end the small boats crossing in the English Channel. Now, on several occasions, debates, Tories have argued that small boats arriving have overwhelmed the UK's asylum system. The bill will now direct the government to detain and remove those arriving in the UK illegally. The government is expected to send them to Rwanda or another safe country. Now, the Rwanda plan is still making its way through legal ways. Now, this is after last month a court ruled the plan unlawful. For more, our London correspondent Alex Isaac is standing by. So this is going to be seen as an achievement by Rishi Sunak, but he still has to get those so-called illegal immigrants on those planes.
Well, it's not just about getting them out. It's about stopping the boats coming over completely. And this migration bill doesn't really put that into practice. There are still a lot of unanswered questions about exactly how that's going to happen. The fact is that it's been said that when people come over illegally, there's more of an opportunity to send them away, deport them back to their own countries if they're coming over for financial gains, or send them over to Rwanda if they haven't already tried to go through the asylum process here in the UK. But there are still many questions. How long people are going to be put over here in accommodation? What are the processes? There is a huge backlog, and the backlog was one of the promises that Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister, has said that he would try and get through. In fact, now Keir Starmer, a Labour Party, is also trying to promise that they will also get rid of that backlog. So there is still a long way to go with regards to how we're going to move forward as a country to ensure that the people that are coming over are doing it, firstly, legally, and are actually requiring the assistance that are needed to get out of their country and to arrive safely. So even though we are focusing on those illegal immigrants that come over in boats and risk their lives for a whole host of reasons, there are also those other issues about making sure that those people that come from places that really do need help and asylum are also getting it as well. And they're still in hotels, and there's this huge backlog, and that is also costing not just the UK taxpayer, but it's also costing time and energy as well. And many people who have come over to seek asylum legally do just want to get on with their life. They want to work, they want to integrate with society. So there is a lot more to it than just getting those people on a plane and out of the country and deporting those that shouldn't be here.
Alex Isaac, thank you so very much indeed. Talking about that illegal migration bill that has passed the Lords now, and of course this comes on the same day that we've got a barge for asylum seekers arriving in Dorset as well. Alex Isaac, thank you, our correspondent in the British capital. Labour leader Keir Starmer is facing pressure from his own party members over the 2-child benefit cap after Starmer announced not to scrap the policy if Labour wins power. Now, the shadow cabinet ministers are defending his position as they argue that Labour's fiscally credible image at the next election is depending on this policy, because the party could not make any spending commitments without saying how they would be funded. However, even after this, at a meeting, almost every Labour MP questioned the deputy leader, Angela Rayner, about Starmer's stance on the two-child benefit limit. Now, some members even described the announcement as a mistake and urged the leaders to rethink. Some senior party figures like Anna Sawa, leaders of the Labour Party in Scotland, said they will oppose the policy. Now, the two-child limit was implemented in 2017, and the policy prevents families from receiving additional means-tested support for their third or subsequent children. The amount stands somewhere near $4,235 a year per child between 2023 and 2024. The United Kingdom is aiming to increase its nuclear power capacity, this as part of the effort to boost energy security and electricity generation. And to this end, the government launched its new body, Great British Nuclear it's called. Now, this will help deliver the government's commitment to a quarter of the UK's electricity from nuclear energy by 2050. The country aims to increase its nuclear power capacity to 24 gigawatts by 2050. The Energy Security Secretary Grant Shapps said, and I'm quoting here, "Britain has a rich history as a pioneer of nuclear power, having launched the era of civil nuclear power, and I'm proud to be turbocharging its revival and placing our country once again at the forefront of global innovation." But the elephant in the room is that these small modular reactors, are they feasible? Well, large nuclear plants struggle to get financing. The government's hope to replace these with a fleet of SMRs that can be made in factories with lower costs and fast construction. Now, according to reports, SMRs have no track record yet. Experts feel it would be better to spend time and energy pursuing renewable resources like wind or solar. Now, this is why the UK government wants to stir up competition in the race to make SMRs a reality. And to ensure this, it announced a £157 million grant, £77 million to accelerate the development of a nuclear business and support new designs, and $58 million to design and develop a new advanced modular reactor that operates at higher temperatures. Well, private firms like Hitachi and Rolls-Royce have shown interest in developing small modular reactors, and according to report, Shapps is expected to announce the winners of the grants before the end of the year. Okay, we're going to talk about entertainment now here on WION World as well. Let's get your big stories from Showbiz.
Actor Lindsay Lohan has welcomed her first child with husband Bader Shammas. The 37-year-old star, who wed Shammas in 2022, has reportedly named her son Lua Lua, was born in Dubai. However, the exact date of his birth is unknown. Lohan and Shammas have lived together in the United Arab Emirates since at least 2021. Actor Jamie Lee Curtis, who starred with Lohan in Freaky Friday, also took to social media to celebrate her on-screen daughter's announcement. Madame Tussauds has unveiled 7 new wax figures of pop star Harry Styles across the museum's various locations around the world. Styles was once in the lineup at Madame Tussauds London alongside his former One Direction bandmates. But this time, he has returned to the attraction as a solo artist. The official unveiling of the wax figures is scheduled for July 27th. The figures will feature some of the singer's most iconic looks from his performances and red carpet appearances. Vijayanti Movies unveiled the long-awaited official first look of actor Deepika Padukone from the upcoming movie Project K, directed by Nag Ashwin. The movie has already generated immense buzz. It is all set to make its grand debut at the San Diego Comic-Con. Project K boasts an ensemble cast of some of the biggest stars in the Indian movie industry, including actors Amitabh Bachchan, Kamal Hassan, Prabhas, Deepika Padukone and Disha Patani.
Okay, let's get some sport now. And the claret jug has been returned back to the Royal and Ancient with a promise that its current holder plans to drink out of it again this coming Sunday. Reigning British Open champion Cameron Smith believes his game is at a better place now than it was 12 months ago as he bids to become the first player since Padraig Harrington in 2008 to defend the oldest major in golf. Well, Smith landed his first major title with a blistering final day charge at St Andrews as he wrote his name into the history books as the winner of the milestone 150th Open. Well, the Australian handed back the claret jug to the CEO of the RNA yesterday and admitted it did tear him up.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. I just had to hand back the trophy there. I thought I was going to do all right, but I was actually holding back some tears. So,
well, Smith enters this week's event at Royal Liverpool Golf Course, riding some pretty serious momentum. He took a wire-to-wire win at Golf's London International 10 days ago, and that's a reflection of his form in 2023. He has registered 5 top 10 finishes on the LIV Golf this season and finished tied for 9th at the PGA Championship in May and then 4th at the US Open last month.
I think the person's the same. I think my old boy would give me a clip around the ears if he was any different. I think as a golfer, I actually think I'm a better golfer now than what I was last year. I think the stuff that I had to clean up is progressing. It's still a little bit of a work in progress.
Well, Smith became a statement signing when he joined the new tour a month and a half after winning the last Open. Well, that meant his battles with the likes of Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm and Scottie Scheffler was limited only to the majors, but Smith is happy with the choice that he made. Well, the duel with McIlroy is on the cards again, with the Northern Irishman having won the Scottish Open on Sunday. McIlroy famously hasn't won a major since 2014. The last time he won was on this very course.
Yeah, I guess that'd be a good story for you guys to write about, for sure. You know, like I said, there's plenty of guys here that, given their week, can be right up there on Sunday afternoon. I'm sure Rory will be one of them. He's played great golf the last few months here, and yeah, it looked like he finally got one on the head. It may open the floodgates for him, who knows, but yeah, it'd be a cool story for sure.
It's going to be great as per usual. Thank you so very much indeed for your company this hour.